It's not by chance that you're viewing this video. There's a reason you're here. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust the timing of your life and know that you're being led to where you're meant to be. As you stumble on this video, perhaps not by chance, it will serve to awaken your spirit, chosen one. Why are you awake at night? Why does your spirit rise when the world becomes quiet? Why does something deep inside you awaken just when your body wants to rest? Why does it feel like a voice is whispering just beyond your understanding? Why do your eyes open at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., or 4 a.m., and your mind starts racing? It's not fear. It's awareness. You are not restless, anxious, or imagining things. You are being called. Your spirit feels something your body can't explain. It's not meant to be explained. It's meant to be followed. This is not a normal night. This is not just another sleepless moment. This night could change everything. There is a reason you are awake. There is a reason you feel something is shifting. Something is breaking. Something is being revealed. You are not being disturbed. You are being called by the Spirit. This is not insomnia. It is a prophetic instruction. At night, when everything is quiet and distractions are gone, heaven speaks. The spiritual realm becomes clearer. Heaven speaks to the chosen ones. It speaks to those marked with purpose. It speaks to those carrying a mission too heavy for ordinary people. It calls those who must move while the world sleeps. You don't need sleep aids. You need to listen. Chosen one, you were not made to sleep through this moment. You were not meant to rest while heaven is active. Not because you are cursed, but because you are chosen. This is the truth the enemy never wanted you to know. Your sleeplessness is a sign that you are sensitive to the Spirit. The more you try to ignore it, the louder heaven speaks. You have felt it. You have walked the floor in the dark, praying words you didn't plan to say. You have stared at the ceiling with tears, feeling something rising inside you without knowing what it was. You have written words that seemed to come from you, were created to stay awake while others sleep. Not because you are cursed, but because you are chosen. This is the truth the enemy never wanted you to know. Your sleeplessness is a sign that you are sensitive to the Spirit. The more you try to ignore it, the louder heaven speaks. You have felt it. You have walked the floor in the dark, praying words you didn't plan to say. You have stared at the ceiling with tears, feeling something rising inside you without knowing what it was. You have written words that seemed to come from nowhere. You have cried for people you hadn't thought about in years. You have felt urgency for things you couldn't explain. Here's why. God is calling you to night watch. Some battles are only won in the dark. Some doors only open through midnight prayer. Some answers only come when distractions are gone. It's in that quiet moment, while just you and the Spirit of God. Your rest has been disrupted because your role is being activated. So don't ignore it. Don't roll over and go back to sleep. Get up, not just physically, but spiritually. Heaven wants to speak. Your next step in life may depend on how you respond right now. You have been asking for clarity. You have been asking for breakthrough. You have been asking for direction. Now God is answering. It's not through lightning or loud voices, but through a divine interruption. You are not watching this by accident. This video is not for entertainment. It is a prophetic confirmation. It is a spiritual calling. You need to respond. Wow, not tomorrow, not later, but right now. Agree with what your spirit already knows. Like this video if your heart is already burning. Subscribe. If you know this isn't the first time heaven has tried to get your attention, comment 33. Free below as a prophetic act 333 is the number of divine presence, angelic instruction, and supernatural guidance. When you type 333, you are not just typing a number. You are answering a spiritual call. You are saying, "Here I am, Lord. Speak. I'm listening." This is not a suggestion. This is not a spiritual idea. This is a divine alert. The Spirit is calling the watchmen to stand on the wall. The Spirit is calling the seers to take their place at the gate. The Spirit is calling the chosen to rise and respond. Well, not with noise, but with readiness. You've been wondering when your life will shift. The answer may depend on how you respond tonight. This night is not an interruption, it is an invitation. God reveals secrets in the dark. He raises prophets in quiet places. He calls warriors in the silence. Right now, while He is calling you. So don't miss this. This is not just about you, it's about the people your voice will reach. It's about the legacy your obedience will build. It's about the lives your prayers will touch. This is about divine messages waiting to be received, while ideas, instructions, and intercession. What if the thing you've been waiting for has been while waiting on you to get up at night and respond? Now here we are. The veil is thin, the moment is open, your spirit is ready, your posture is shifting. God is not just waking your body while He is awakening your purpose. Are you listening? Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Mystery of the Midnight Hour. Chosen one. There is a mystery hidden in the quietest part of the night, while between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. It is a sacred window. While the world sleeps, the heavens move, the noise fades, and the unseen realm becomes active. You felt it, the restlessness, the sudden waking, the heaviness, the strange dreams, the urge to pray, even when you're tired. That's not insomnia, that's intercession. Your spirit is answering a divine call. You are being pulled into position. This sacred time, often called the fourth watch or the midnight hour, is not random. It is deeply prophetic and spiritually powerful. It is a time when heaven and earth align in silence. It is when divine instructions are often whispered. It is a time for revelation, spiritual warfare, and breakthrough. For the chosen ones, it is a time of intense spiritual activity. This is when God marks His warriors. Let's look at the word. Acts 16:25 and 26 says that around midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God. Other prisoners were listening. Suddenly there was a great earthquake. The prison shook from its foundations. All the doors opened and every prisoner's chains fell off. Midnight was not just a time, it was a trigger. Their praise in the darkness moved heaven, and heaven responded, not quietly, but powerfully. Chains broke, doors opened, and the freedom wasn't just for Paul and Silas, but for everyone around them. Why? Because midnight is the birthing ground of deliverance. Look at Exodus 12:29, the night of Passover. It says that at midnight the Lord struck down all the firstborn in Egypt. Israel had been in bondage for generations, but at midnight, judgment came to Egypt and deliverance came to God's people. Notice the pattern. Breakthrough doesn't always come at sunrise. Sometimes it comes in the darkest hour. That's when heaven moves. That's when destinies change. Midnight is when the covenant is enforced. We must also remember Jesus in Gethsemane on the night of His betrayal. While His disciples were sleeping, Jesus was awake. He was groaning, praying, and sweating drops of blood, not because He feared death, but because He understood what was happening in the Spirit. The garden was not the beginning of His end. It was the beginning of our redemption, and it happened under the moonlight, while the world slept. Midnight is where mantles are passed on. Midnight is where callings are accepted. Midnight is where obedience becomes surrender. So why have you been waking up between midnight and 3 a.m.? Why does your body feel tired but your soul feels wide awake? Why do you hear your name in the silence? Why do you feel God's presence more deeply in the stillness than during the day? It's because you are being trained for the watch. Heaven is calling you to a deeper level of intimacy, authority, and alignment. To take authority in the Spirit, you are not just being disturbed, you are being deployed. Your restlessness is not a punishment, it is preparation. You are being awakened because something is shifting in the spiritual realm. You are sensitive enough to feel it. God is trusting you with the responsibility of watchmanship. He is giving you the gift of discernment. He is placing the mantle of intercession on you. While others sleep, you feel the urgency. You sense something is coming, something greater, and you're right. During these hours, angels are sent out, secrets are revealed, strategies are given, deliverance begins. God the Father is looking for someone who will respond to His call in the dark. That's why the battle around your sleep has increased. That's why your dreams have become more intense. That's why you felt pressure in your chest at night. Your spirit is being called to the gate. If you ignore it, you may miss divine instructions. Chosen one, you are being called to the midnight altar. You are not just called to pray, but to partner with heaven. You are called to shift atmospheres, block demonic plans, and speak declarations that echo through time and space. You were never meant to only receive the word. You were meant to enforce it. And the strongest enforcement happens when the world is silent and heaven is listening. Some of the most important instructions you will ever receive won't come from crowds, pulpits, or conferences. They will come in the stillness of 2 a.m., with tears on your pillow and the Spirit whispering direction to your heart. Your greatest healing, release, and clarity may come when you respond to the stirring in the night and take your position. The night is God's canvas, and He paints the future on it. While others sleep and dream, this is why your midnight matters. You don't need to fear the dark anymore. The darkness is not a curse, it's a classroom. You are being taught how to hear, how to fight, how to see, and how to command. The same power that shook the prison walls for Paul and Silas is with you now. The same hand that brought justice to Egypt is with you. The same presence that stood with Jesus in Gethsemane is right there, in your room, in your night, in you now. You are not restless, you are responsive. You are not losing sleep, you are gaining strategy. You are not random, you are recruited. As you begin to honor this midnight call, you will notice the change. You will gain clarity. You will receive wisdom. You will walk in strength. Your dreams will become clearer. Your voice will become bolder. Your hearing will become sharper. Your steps will become freer. Because midnight is not just an hour, it is an encounter. Let me tell you this prophetically. What you do in the dark will shape what God does in the light. The next level of your purpose is being written through your midnight prayers. Your next season of breakthrough is being formed through your surrender at 2 a.m. The doors you've been waiting for are already opening, but they swing on the hinges of your obedience in the stillness. If this message stirred something in you, if you know God has been calling you into the secret place when the clock strikes 12, type, "I'm awake," in the comments. That's your declaration to heaven that you understand the assignment. Like this video, share it with someone who's been waking up without answers. Subscribe for more prophetic instruction and revelation, because this is only the beginning. The midnight hour is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. It's the time when the world sleeps, but heaven speaks. Get in position. The watch has begun. Chapter 2. Why the night is sacred for chosen ones. There's something about the night that has always felt different to you. Even as a child, you could feel it. That strange heaviness on your chest when the sun went down, that deep quiet that filled the house when the lights turned off. While others slipped into dreams, your eyes stayed wide open. You watched the ceiling, the shadows, and the patterns in the dark. You didn't have words for it then, but your spirit was already listening. Not fear, not anxiety, but something deeper. You felt like something was just beyond your understanding. Something calling, something watching, something waiting. While the world slept, you felt awake inside. You were awake in a way that you couldn't explain. You tossed and turned. You whispered prayers without realizing they were prayers. Sometimes you just cried without knowing why. You grew up calling it restlessness. Doctors called it insomnia. Some nights you blamed stress. Other nights you blamed overthinking. But now you know the truth. It wasn't insomnia. It was an invitation. The night wasn't meant to torture you. It was a secret meeting place between heaven and your soul. Some assignments don't come in the daytime. Some callings only come at night. Some voices can only be heard when the world is quiet and your spirit is awake. You were being chosen long before you ever knew. You were chosen before you understood spiritual gifts, before you had theology, before you had confidence, before you had the right words. God was calling you in the dark, in the quiet, and in the stillness of night. The night has always been sacred for the chosen ones. When the world becomes still, heaven opens in a special way. As distractions fade, God's voice becomes clearer. The spiritually sensitive, those with different awareness, feel it first. You weren't meant to sleep like everyone else, because you weren't meant to live like everyone else. While others rested, you were receiving. While others dreamed, you were discerning. You didn't choose this rhythm. It chose you. And you've wondered, why do I feel more at night? Why do the questions feel deeper? Why do the burdens seem heavier? Why do I cry more after midnight? It's because the veil is thinnest at night. That's when your soul becomes quiet enough for heaven to speak. That's when your calling becomes so loud, your body can't ignore it. God speaks in whispers when the world is silent. He doesn't always shout. He doesn't always come with thunder. Sometimes he waits. He waits until you are still. He waits until you've run out of to-do lists and distractions. He waits until the phones are off and the notifications stop. He waits until your mind begins to drift and your guard comes down. Then, like a soft breeze through an open window, he speaks through a question that drops into your heart, through a name that rises in your spirit, through a sudden urge to pray, through a flash of an idea, through a weight on your chest that tells you something is happening, even if you can't see it yet. That's not a coincidence. That's contact. Because the night has always been the time when the most sacred assignments are given. It was in the night that God came to Samuel and called him by name. It was in the night that Jacob wrestled with the angel and received a new identity. It was in the night that Joseph dreamed of both destiny and disaster. It was in the night that Jesus prayed in Gethsemane. Blood fell like sweat as he said yes to the cross. Night is when glory presses into the earth with weight. And you, chosen one, have always felt it, even if you couldn't explain it. That's why your sleepless nights weren't random. That's why, no matter what sleep aids you tried, something in your spirit wouldn't let you fully rest. Because the real rest you needed wasn't for your body. It was your spirit saying yes to what you were born for. And the night is where God began to train you for it. That stirring you felt wasn't punishment. It was permission. Permission to awaken. Permission to step outside the rhythm of the world. Permission to receive what others sleep through. So don't curse the night anymore. Don't dread the silence. Don't medicate the mystery. Instead, answer it. You are being called back into alignment, back into the hours when heaven trusts you with things too heavy for the day. What God gives you at night is not meant to be forgotten by morning. It is meant to shape your decisions. It is meant to guide your prayers. It is meant to unlock your vision. It is meant to stir your strategy. It is meant to awaken your purpose. This is why you can't sleep like everyone else. Because you don't live like everyone else. You are not average. You are not random. You are not just tired. You are turning into the one who finally understands. Your restlessness was never about sleep. It was about a summons, a divine summons, a holy summons, the kind that comes for the chosen. It wasn't random. It was recruitment, a divine alert, a spiritual alarm sounding in the unseen realm, because you, whether you knew it or not, have been called. Called as a night watcher, called as a spiritual intercessor, called as a watchman on the wall. Throughout Scripture, we see this pattern. God always raises watchers when something is about to shift, when a nation is at risk, when a family is under shift. Here is your text rewritten time when the enemy is plotting in the dark. God doesn't wait for the battle to show up in the light. Chapter 3, Chosen One. God wakes up his night watchers during the night to pray, guard, or seek God. He alerts the intercessors. He summons the chosen ones to the front lines of prayer and prophetic defense, and he often does it in the midnight hours. Ezekiel 33:7 says, "Son of man, I have made you a watchman for the people of Israel. So hear the word I speak and give them warning from me." This was not just a title. It was a divine mandate. A watchman stood on the city walls, not to rest, but to watch, guard, discern, and respond. Their job was to see what others could not, to sound the alarm before danger reached the gates, to carry the burden of awareness while others rested in ignorance. And the same is true for you. You have been feeling heavy and didn't understand why. You felt a sudden need to pray for people you haven't thought about in years. You've been waking up at 2 a.m. with someone's name on your heart. That is not anxiety. That is not restlessness. That is intercession. That's a spiritual warfare. That is divine responsibility. God wakes you to cover what others cannot see. While the world sleeps, you are spiritually positioned to intervene. You are not just awake for yourself. You are awake for generations. There are people whose lives are being protected because you said yes to the midnight call. You didn't know what you were praying for, but you obeyed anyway. That obedience shifted timelines. It stopped attacks, it changed outcomes in ways you may never fully understand on this side of heaven. This is what it means to be a night watcher. It means being trusted by God with secrets and strategies. It means waking up with urgency because someone's soul is in danger. It means God looks over the earth and says, "Who can I trust to carry this burden for a few hours?" And he finds you, ready, even when you are tired. Chosen one, your intercession is not small. Your prayers are not random. When you speak, heaven hears and hell trembles. Your midnight whispers are louder than a stadium of noise. They carry power because they come from alignment, intimacy, and authority. Next side, you don't need a stage to make an impact. You have a watchtower in the spirit. And from that place, you are covering homes, cities, ministries, and bloodlines. Isaiah 62 verses 6 through 7 speaks of these watchers. I have posted watchmen on your walls, Jerusalem. They will never be silent day or night. Give yourselves no rest, and give him no rest until he establishes Jerusalem and makes her the praise of the earth. Watchers don't rest because purpose doesn't sleep. You have felt like your peace is under pressure. It's not because you're broken, it's because you're carrying something holy. You intercede to stop things others don't even see coming. You stand in the gap so judgment passes over. You speak protection over your family while they sleep. You pray for nations you've never visited. You pray for people you've never met. You pray for leaders who will never know your name. That's the weight of being chosen. You've been given spiritual sight, and sight comes with responsibility. That's why your nights feel different. That's why you can't sleep like others do. God is stirring your spirit, not to bother you. He is calling you to the wall, to intercede, to listen, to speak, to protect. And when you answer that call, you step into your role as a spiritual guardian. Watchmen are warriors. You're not just sensing darkness, you're fighting it. Every prayer you say at night pushes back the enemy's plans. Every word you speak under the moon becomes protection for your home, your family, and your purpose. You are not passive. You are active. You don't just react, you see ahead. That's not a burden, it's a gift. Sometimes God wakes you up just to pray in the Spirit. No words, no plan, just obedience. Other times, He shows you faces, gives you names, or places Bible verses in your heart. Follow those prompts. At night, God trains His prophets. He doesn't just call you, He prepares you. He teaches you to hear His voice without noise. He shows you your true authority when it's just you and Him in silence. Don't hate your midnight calling. It's where you're being shaped. While others sleep, you stay awake. While they dream, you speak God's word. While they rest, you pray. That's why people don't understand you. They think you're too intense. They don't get why you cry at odd times or pray in a language they don't know. But they're not called to this. You are. You're called to pray at night while others sleep, and God rewards you. When you cover others in prayer, He protects you. When you care for His house, He cares for yours. When you say yes to Him in private, He blesses you in public. Every prayer you pray at night becomes protection in the day. Let me say this clearly. God is training you in the night so you can lead during the day. Being a watchman isn't just for a season, it's a way of life. This season of praying at midnight is preparing you for a time of public authority. Your voice is growing stronger. Your spiritual sight is becoming sharper. Your discernment is becoming powerful against the enemy. You're not just losing sleep, you're gaining spiritual power. If you feel alone in this, know that you are not. There are many night watchers being awakened around the world. Heaven is raising a quiet army, not loud or proud, but alert. Their names may never be known, their faces may never be seen, but their prayers are changing cities. Their words are saving lives. Their presence at night is why some families still have peace. If this speaks to you, type "I'm on the wall" in the comments. Let heaven see your agreement. Let angels respond to your yes. Like this video, share it with another watchman who needs to know they are not alone. Subscribe for more prophetic training. God is building an army, and you're already part of it. Chosen one, stay on the wall. Your role is holy. Your prayers matter. Your midnight yes is a powerful weapon in God's hands. Chapter 4. One night of obedience can release what years of prayer could not. Chosen one, let's be honest, some breakthroughs only come at night. Not because God hides them, but because few people are willing to stay awake while others sleep. Only a few will answer the call when it comes in darkness, silence, and holy discomfort. You've asked God for answers, clarity, and direction. He heard you. But now he's asking for something too. He's asking you to obey when no one is watching, in the quiet hours. Some doors don't open at noon. Some chains don't break in a crowd. Some spiritual callings are only given in the night, in the stillness. This isn't about proving yourself. It's about being in the right place. When you say yes at night, heaven responds. When you get up at 3 a.m., not to scroll your phone or worry, but to pray, listen, and write what God tells you, something starts to shift. You may not see it right away, but heaven sees it. Angels move because of it. Darkness trembles at it. Your obedience becomes a weapon. And when you obey, dreams return. Not just dreams, but instructions from God. Some dreams are full of revelation. They show you the next move, the next step, or the next season. These dreams warn you, prepare you, and bring you deliverance. Not all dreams are just random images. Some are spiritual messages, hidden in symbols, emotions, and mystery. When you obey at night, you make room for those dreams to return. You start to have what the Bible calls night visions. Clear messages from God, shown when your mind is quiet and your spirit is open. You will wake up knowing what to do. Ideas will come suddenly. You will see plans, names, faces, and timelines. Heaven will begin to trust you with divine strategies that others spend years trying to understand. These things come through stillness and obedience. God sent angels to Abraham, Mary, Joseph, and Daniel, all in the dark, all while they were still, listening, and willing. Heaven doesn't knock, it just shows up. When heaven is welcome, it shows up. And when you become someone who watches in the night, you become someone heaven visits in secret. The night watch is not just a time for prayer, it is a covenant. It's a way of saying to God, I'll be awake when you come. I won't miss it this time. I'll show up, I'll wait, I'll listen. When that kind of devotion rises from the earth, God answers with revelation, the kind that breaks what effort cannot. Walls begin to fall quietly but completely. Addictions lose their power, old cycles are broken, confusion lifts. Generational curses are challenged, new territory is claimed, blueprints are given. Strongholds that lasted for years start to break, all before morning comes. That is the power of night obedience. Obedience in the dark speaks louder in the spirit than public performance in the light. And here's what many don't tell you. Your obedience at night doesn't just change your life, it changes the lives of others too. Some people's freedom depends on your midnight yes. Some destinies are connected to your quiet prayers. Not because God hides them, but because few people are willing to stay awake while others sleep. Only a few will answer the call when it comes in darkness, silence, and holy discomfort. You've asked God for answers, clarity, and direction. He heard you. But now he's asking for something too. He's asking you to obey when no one is watching, in the quiet hours. Some doors don't open at noon. Some chains don't break in a crowd. Some spiritual callings are only given in the night, in the stillness. This isn't about proving yourself. It's about being in the right place. When you say yes at night, heaven responds. When you get up at 3 a.m., not to scroll your phone or worry, but to pray, listen, and write what God tells you, something starts to shift. You may not see it right away, but heaven sees it. Angels move because of it. Darkness trembles at it. Your obedience becomes a weapon. And when you obey, dreams return. Not just dreams, but instructions from God. Some dreams are full of revelation. They show you the next move, the next step, or the next season. These dreams warn you, prepare you, and bring you deliverance. Not all dreams are just random images. Some are spiritual messages, hidden in symbols, emotions, and mystery. When you obey at night, you make room for those dreams to return. You start to have what the Bible calls night visions. Clear messages from God, shown when your mind is quiet and your spirit is open. You will wake up knowing what to do. Ideas will come suddenly. You will see plans, names, faces, and timelines. Heaven will begin to trust you with divine strategies that others spend years trying to understand. These things come through stillness and obedience. God sent angels to Abraham, Mary, Joseph, and Daniel, all in the dark, all while they were still, listening, and willing. Heaven doesn't knock, it just shows up. When heaven is welcome, it shows up. And when you become someone who watches in the night, you become someone heaven visits in secret. The night watch is not just a time for prayer. It is a covenant. It's a way of saying to God, I'll be awake when you come. I won't miss it this time. I'll show up. I'll wait. I'll listen. When that kind of devotion rises from the earth, God answers with revelation, the kind that breaks what effort cannot. Walls begin to fall quietly but completely. Addictions lose their power. Old cycles are broken. Confusion lifts. Generational curses are challenged. New territory is claimed. Blueprints are given. Strongholds that lasted for years start to break, all before morning comes. That is the power of night obedience. Obedience in the dark speaks louder in the spirit than public performance in the light. And here's what many don't tell you. Your obedience at night doesn't just change your life, it changes the lives of others too. Some people's freedom depends on your midnight yes. Some destinies are connected to your quiet prayers. Entire families will be healed because you got up when you could have stayed in bed. You keep asking God for acceleration. You keep asking for a divine turnaround. But what if what you're waiting for is actually waiting for you at 3 a.m.? What if the shift you need won't happen until you surrender your sleep? What if your breakthrough is standing by your bed, waiting for you to get up? They move before others do. They pray before the crisis happens. They cry before judgment comes. They give birth in the spirit to what others later enjoy. Chosen one, your night obedience is not small. It is spiritual warfare. It is intercession. It is alignment. It is proof that God can trust you. It is heaven's green light. God is not just calling you to stay awake. He is calling you to be available, not just to receive, but to carry his purpose. Some things that happen when you obey at night cannot happen during the day. So the next time you wake up in the middle of the night, don't ignore it. Don't call it insomnia. Call it an invitation. Get up, kneel down, open your journal, pray in the spirit, sit in the silence. Say, speak, Lord, your servant is listening. Watch what happens. One night of obedience can do what years of effort never could. But what happens if you ignore it? Chosen one, this is your warning, a holy caution, a divine interruption filled with love and truth. What you feel at night, the whispers, the nudges to pray, to write, to listen, to move, are not random. They are divine invitations. They are moments of heavenly alignment designed by God to give you purpose, clarity, and power. When you ignore them, when you roll over, silence the urge, and push away the weight you feel in your spirit, you don't just miss sleep. You risk your legacy. Let's be honest. We've all felt it, that deep stirring at 2 a.m., the sudden spiritual heaviness, the face or name that comes to mind, the dream or vision that fades when we choose to stay in bed. Maybe you've said, I'll pray in the morning, or I'm too tired tonight, or I'll write the dream later. But the truth is, delayed obedience is still disobedience. And in the spiritual realm, delay is dangerous. Ignoring divine moments causes spiritual delay. God is merciful and patient. He understands your humanity, but he also works according to divine timing. There are spiritual windows, moments that are appointed, timed, and strategic. When you miss them, you don't just lose a moment. You lose momentum. You fall out of alignment. You miss instructions. You delay your destiny. Think about it. How many dreams have you forgotten because you didn't write them down? How many warnings faded because you didn't pray when you felt the urge? How many divine strategies were lost because you said, I'm tired? When God calls you in the night, it's not to inconvenience you. It's to inform you. He is trying to save you time. He is trying to equip you for battle. He wants to show you what's coming before it arrives. But when you ignore his call, you enter the battle without preparation. What could have been avoided ends up being repeated. You go in circles, dealing with cycles that should have ended long ago. You miss the instruction that would have broken the pattern. This is why you keep facing the same test. This is why breakthrough feels delayed. This is why some doors seem stuck. Not because God said no, but because you weren't ready when He said go. The instruction you ignore becomes the lesson you have to repeat. In the kingdom, time is not guaranteed. Just because the opportunity was there yesterday doesn't mean it will wait forever. Remember what happened in 1 Samuel 15, God gave Saul a clear instruction through the prophet Samuel. Destroy the Amalekites completely. God will not trust you with promotion if you cannot be trusted with full obedience. And understand this, God will still accomplish His plan. But you will lose time. That is the cost of missing your moment. Your assignment is not erased, but it can be transferred. God's plan never fails. He will raise up someone else. He will speak to another intercessor. He will bless another obedient heart. But you will have to start over. You will have to rebuild trust. You might watch someone else walk through a door that was meant for you. That's not punishment, it's a principle. You've been asking why you feel stuck. You've been battling discouragement. You're struggling to find clarity. Could it be that you missed a divine moment? And now you're living in delay? God spoke, but you didn't move. He knocked, but you stayed in bed. He stirred you in the night, but you silenced the spirit. You're not just losing sleep, you're risking legacy. Legacy is not built in the spotlight. It's built in the secret place. It's built in the quiet yes. It's built in the 3 a.m. prayers no one knows. It's built in the obedience that doesn't go viral, but reaches heaven. Every time you ignore the pull to rise, you miss a chance to build that legacy, layer by layer. God is not looking for perfect people. He is looking for responsive people. People who will answer even when they don't understand. People who will obey before they are comfortable. People who will wake up before it's too late. Let's be real. You've felt the cost. You've lived in the delay. You've walked through seasons of confusion, wondering why you couldn't move forward. Deep down you know, it wasn't always the enemy. It wasn't always warfare. Sometimes it was missed instruction. Sometimes it was unanswered assignments. Sometimes it was delayed preparation. Now God is giving you another chance. This message is your moment of mercy, a call to return to the altar, a call to take the midnight tug seriously, to understand that what feels like a small nudge may actually be the key to your destiny. He is calling you again, not to condemn you, but to recommission you. Your legacy is still possible. Your purpose is still valid. But you have to respond now. There are generations tied to your yes. Unborn children need your alignment. Families will find freedom because you woke up and prayed. Nations will be changed because you listened in the dark. That's how serious this is. Your obedience affects others. When you delay, others stay in bondage longer. When you disobey, their breakthrough is postponed. Your yes carries weight. God is raising a remnant who move when He moves, who rise when He calls, who don't treat divine instruction like an option. You are part of that remnant. That's why this message found you. That's why your spirit is stirred. That's why your heart feels heavy, because you know it's true. You've wasted enough time. You've missed enough moments. You've repeated enough cycles. It's time to answer the call. Every time, no matter the hour. If you've ever felt that tug in the night but ignored it, if you felt the regret of missing a word, forgetting a dream, or not writing down a vision, now is the time to respond. You are not just praying in the night. You are birthing victory for the day. Your night obedience is doing more than you realize. Your night obedience is doing more than you realize. It is unlocking healing you haven't even asked for yet. It is releasing insight for problems that haven't even appeared. It is protecting people you love from attacks they will never know about. It is preparing resources that will meet you in the morning. Divine connections are being formed. Doors are being opened. Deliverance is being released. Assignments and streams of income are being set in place. And it's not because you shouted in front of a crowd, but because you whispered in front of God. God needed someone who would wake up when others roll over. Someone who would stand guard while the city sleeps. Someone who would speak when others stay silent. Someone who would intercede, declare war, and weep, not for applause, but for alignment. You are that someone. You are the watchman. And tonight is not random. Let that settle in your spirit. Let your soul catch up with what heaven already knows about you. That you are trustworthy. That you are ready. That you are not waking up in the night because of insomnia, but because divine instruction is being released. God is not calling everyone. He is calling you. This is the sacred hour, the hour of watchers and warriors. The hour when angels are released and blueprints are unveiled. The hour when darkness is loudest, and yet the soft whisper of God still carries more power. That whisper is calling your name tonight, not to perform, not to strive, but to position yourself. It doesn't matter if you ignored the call before. It doesn't matter if you hit snooze on your assignment in the past. The mercy of God is standing at your bedside again. He is not angry. He is inviting you, not to religion, but to relationship. Not to pressure, but to presence. The instructions are simple. Posture yourself. That means grab your journal. The visions will come fast now. The clarity you've been praying for is about to break open like a flood. Don't let these dreams pass you by. Don't assume you'll remember them later. Write what you see, even if it's only fragments, even if it doesn't make sense at the moment. Heaven speaks in layers, and obedience is the key to understanding. That means pray, not performative prayers, not long rehearsed speeches, but raw, honest, gut-level communion. Talk to God like a friend. Listen for what stirs inside you as you speak. Pay attention to the shift in the atmosphere. If your body trembles or your spirit weeps, you are in the room with God. Stay there. Press in. Linger. That means worship. Let the sound of reverence fill your room. Turn off the noise of the world. Turn your space into a sanctuary. Let it shift spiritual frequencies. Let it invite angels. Because worship is not just filler, it is warfare. It is how the atmosphere of heaven invades your environment. That means listen, still your mind, turn off distractions. Lie on the floor if you need to. Sit with your back against the wall. Don't just talk to God, let Him talk back. The instructions you've been asking for won't come in a crowded room. They will come in the quiet. They will come when you learn how to sit still and just be. Tonight is not random, and neither is your awakening. You've been marked, set apart, trained for the watch. The season of second-guessing yourself is over. The time for hiding is done. You don't need another sign. This is your moment to rise. Not publicly, not loudly, but in the stillness of your spirit. Because this kind of obedience doesn't need an audience. It just needs your yes. There are things moving in the world that only watchmen can see, and only watchmen can stop. You were not chosen to merely exist. You were chosen to shift atmospheres, to break cycles, to raise standards, to speak life into dry places, close the weight, to carry the weight of things unseen, to pray into existence the future your bloodline was never given. You are not weak. You are not overlooked. You are not unqualified. You are awakened. And that makes all the difference. Thanks for watching, guys. Here ends this video. Take a moment, guys, to like, share, and subscribe. If you find it interesting,